Looking back, is there a way that in 1967 both the commercial and the artistic could have been satisfied? Or is that always going to be, I guess, a conflict without any kind of resolution?
This is a difficult question because what you just pointed out is it's easy to look back in retrospect and comment on it. It's also easy for me to be self-righteous about it in trying to understand the story. So when I wrote the original The Beach Boys and the California Myth, uh, I was 25 years old and didn't really understand necessarily the way the world worked. I certainly didn't understand these were all basically kids who had homes and wives and children and were terrified that this music could destroy their career. That said, what George Martin was referring to was that the Beatles never took that into consideration. So on Revolver, which ends with Tomorrow Never Knows, on this single that came out in early 67, Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, maybe the greatest double-sided single in history. There's certainly nothing commercial about Strawberry Fields. Penny Lane has a up-tempo happy feel to it that you can tell you that's a Beatles record. But you think about the long fade on Strawberry Fields. It's like, what radio station is going to play this? Well, guess what? They all played it. And they played it because it was the Beatles. So now the question is, why couldn't Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys have that same courtesy, if you will? Had Brian earned that? When Van Dyke Parks talks about that era, he's very, very strong on the idea that Brian had earned the right to do this so-called experimental music.
Very fair point. Yeah, very fair point, I think.
The other things that I think I talk about in the book that are disturbing. First of all, essentially Capitol Records in America sabotaged Pet Sounds. We don't need to go into the detail of that here, but Brian came back with Good Vibrations, and for months he was working on that. Why are you spending so much
Mm.
money on this, Brian? Why are you spending so much time in the studio on this? Why is it taking so long? And it's one of the greatest records ever made. And so Brian is now thinking, okay, I'm going to make an album the way I made Good Vibrations. Is everybody on board? Well, not quite.